Hi, I'm Jessica Daly.
And I'm Emily Langham.
You're watching Live in the Hive.
Come and see White Christmas at the Palace Theatre.
What a fantastic opening. Yes, you are watching Live in the Hive, and those two lovely ladies were the stars of White Christmas. They play the Haynes sisters, and a little bit later on in this very show, you are going to get a fantastic performance from the cast of White Christmas, which is currently at the Palace Theatre until the 4th of December. They are going to be playing us out of the show with an amazing melody just for us. So how are we this evening? Well, I have to say, it's not the evening with me. I'm going to admit this is a pre-record. It's snowing outside. Yes, Christmas has finally arrived, but I am actually at the theatre at this point. So that's why I couldn't do a Live in the Hive tonight, but it is for a very good reason. I am currently watching The Wiz at Hope Mill Theatre, and I will be bringing you the latest on that. So do look out for my socials for the review. And in about a week's time, we're going to have the cast of The Wiz in the Hive. So lots to look forward to. But what have we got on the show tonight, I hear you ask? Well, it is fantastic. We have got a great interview with It's a Sin star Nathaniel Hall coming up very, very soon. As I say, we have got some interviews from the cast of White Christmas, plus an exclusive performance. And of course, we've got our very own Manchester Theatre news. But let's kick off the show with Nathaniel Hall, because he is starring in a fantastic production. It's a one-man show. It's called First Time, and it went to Manchester and debuted around 3 years ago. He's absolutely smashing it at the moment, and he found the time to catch up with me a few days ago just to tell me about what the show is like and really what to expect. Take a look. Well, Nathaniel, it is absolutely great to see you again. I know we met a couple of years ago, and gosh, time has flown, and your production of First Time is absolutely smashing it. How do you feel about the recognition you're getting for your one-man show?
Do you know what? It's been amazing, and it's been really amazing to be back in theatres after 18 months, 2 years off. Like, just incredible to be able to go back into the spaces that I love to be on as a performer, but also to be in that space with people who love to come and see shows and enjoy the theatre and be with other people. So big up all the theatres and venues that are working so hard to make that happen and make it safe for people. But yeah, the show has just, it never ceases to amaze me, the reaction that the show gets. And that's both, we can look at what the critics have written, but also from the audience and the audience response, and the messages of support and the people, the stories that people tell me either after the show or, on social media afterwards, just are really, really humbling. And that it's just incredible that it has such an impact on people and is kind of having this ripple effect in people's lives.
Yeah, it still is. I mean, it's been 3 years since you had your premiere here in Manchester. I love the fact that you did it in Manchester because, of course, you are a Manchester lad, so it had to be here as well. But this is, for anybody who's not seen it, I mean, this is your story. This is autobiographical, isn't it? And it's a hard story to watch at times, and it's funny at times. Explain a little bit about what we get to see as an audience.
Yeah, so like you say, it's autobiographical. It's warts and all. It's my whole kind of journey living with HIV. I was diagnosed with HIV when I was 16 after my first sexual experience, but I didn't really tell many people. I boxed that up. I didn't tell my family, and the shame and the stigma of the diagnosis kind of weighed very heavy on me for a very long time. And it wasn't until 2017 that I decided that something needed to change, that the impact of that trauma and the psychological impact of living with it in secret and the shame of it was impacting my life. I was kind of leaning very heavily on drugs and alcohol at that time, lots of partying and in a bad relationship. And it was at that point that I went, something's got to change. And I went on this journey to make the show. But actually, people often come away from the show and go, I didn't expect it to be so funny, or, or so theatrical. I think sometimes people think, oh, a one person show is about someone's story is them sat on a chair in the dark for an hour, kind of pouring their heart out. And it's got elements of that, but it's not. It's got stand-up comedy in it. It's got, like confetti cannons, and it's a really theatrical show, loads of amazing music in there. And so I think people are quite surprised that it's such a kind of journey and a roller coaster of emotions that we go through.
I mean, it must have been hard to actually start putting pen to paper on this, because it is your life. And I imagine back at the age of 16, Nathaniel then getting the diagnosis of HIV when it was just the first time that you had ever slept with somebody. That must have been just like incredible and just devastating.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say to people the actual process of making the show was the difficult bit. That was the picking off the scabs that haven't quite healed. That was art therapy. I got probably thousands of pounds worth of therapy through that process. And actually, I did have professional support alongside that with professional therapy to make sure I was doing it safely. But it was a chance to look back with in real detail at the past, and we don't often do that with our own lives. So I'm very grateful to have had that process and that journey, and lots of tears and lots of realizations and discoveries, and then also difficult memories and but also joyful ones that you'd forgotten, which is also amazing as well. You have to remember that there's lots of joy in life as well as the sad parts. So yeah, it was great. And then people say to me, is it difficult to perform? And in the first few shows, absolutely were really, really tough, but now it's been processed, and that's what good therapy should do. It helps you process the trauma rather than reliving it. And that 3 or 4 years ago, I was living the trauma in my body every day. I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and now with it being processed, I understand it more. And it's a story. It's something that happened to me in the past, but the past is a different place. I'm in a safe place now, in a good place now, a healthy place now, and so I'm in a good position to be able to tell it. And hopefully it has benefit for other people that watch it, and hopefully it helps them go, maybe I want to rid myself of some shame or something that's lingering over me that's holding me back.
Absolutely. And you said there that, it wasn't till 2017 that you actually opened up to your parents, which again must have been kind of a huge weight off to be able to kind of share that with the people you love and get their support, which I suppose at the time you didn't know, or you kind of was unsure about how they were going to react. What's their reaction been to seeing first time and seeing you kind of relive all of that?
Well, the first show I remember in South Manchester, they wanted to put my family on the front row on the day they came. I was like, absolutely not. But I remember I could see it was tough for them because I could still see them in the audience. And my mum came to me afterwards and said it was the longest my dad had held a hand for about 10 years. But actually, they're super proud of everything that I've done and have achieved, and it's amazing now that I'm doing those things and achieving things with them as part of that journey, not in secrecy and shame or anything. So why wouldn't I want them as part of that journey? But my parents came to see the show again when we were at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and they sat on the front row, and my mum started crying in the first scene, and I was like, Christine, this bit's funny, can you not cry? She said, I was just overwhelmed with tears of pride. And I was like, I think maybe you don't need to come anymore. Like, I know you support me. You can support me in different ways. Like, I know it's a tough show for them to watch. No parent wants to see their child or know that their child has been through painful things, although we all do go through those.
Not when they cry at the wrong time, Nathaniel, they've got to get it right. Now, you mentioned stigma earlier on, and I think what you're doing here again is kind of spreading awareness to a new generation. And it seems so sad that there still is a little bit of stigma, not that where it used to be, obviously in the 80s and 90s, but do you think that will disperse at any point? Do you think we are getting closer now to kind of understanding and being educated?
I think HIV is probably one of the world's most stigmatized illnesses, and that's because it's the way in which it's transmitted is mostly through sex and through intravenous drug use. So these are things that humans have a lot of opinions on and a lot of morality around. And unfortunately, what happens is the virus gets caught up in that when actually it's a virus. It's just an intelligent lowlife that's doing what it can do to survive. I do think we're getting to a better place. I think the stigma and the shame and the discrimination back in 2003 when I was diagnosed is a different world to where we're at now. And now people with HIV can't pass HIV on. If you're on effective medication like I am and your viral load is undetectable, you can't transmit the virus onto anyone else. And that's new science that's come around in the last sort of 4 or 5 years or so. And I feel like that's given the HIV community a real confidence to go, do you know what, actually, we're not going to feel ashamed anymore. We're not going to be made to feel this way. We're not a danger to anyone. We never were. But, and I've seen lots of, more people coming out with HIV, a younger generation than me, if they're diagnosed, not living in silence like I did, kind of saying it out. And there's loads of amazing activists. There's Jay Hawkridge over on TikTok, who's done amazing work educating a younger generation, Gareth Thomas, who came out, Jonathan Van Ness. There's so many people who are doing amazing work to normalize HIV. So it's really exciting to be a small part in that and hopefully inspiring other people to live confidently with their HIV status and not be ashamed of it, because it's nothing to be ashamed of.
It definitely isn't. And with that in mind, should we take a look at your trailer? Here you go.
Can you remember your first time? I can't seem to forget mine. Mind you, I have had it playing on repeat for the last 15 years.
Well, what a fantastic guy Nathaniel is, and a great show. So try and catch it if you can. We've got more from Nathaniel coming up a little bit later on when he's going to be telling us about starring in It's a Sin and his wonderful relationship with the fabulous Russell T Davies. So stay tuned for that one. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing, then please spread the word and tell more people about Live in the Hive. Of course, we're on Facebook. Live in the Hive is our page. And we're also on Instagram and Twitter. And we do social updates throughout the week with lots of reviews and news from the world of theatre. And talking about news, well, of course, it's time for this Greater Manchester Theatre News. Oh, and it is another fantastic week in the world of theatre. This announcement has been made. The lady you're seeing on the screen is Deborah McGock. Now, you might not recognise the name, but if I told you the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, you would probably think of both the best-selling novel and the Golden Globe nominated film, which was from a couple of years ago. Yes, that rings a bell. Of course it does. Now, it's taking to the stage. It's got its stage debut next year. It's going to be running at the Lowry in November, and it's very, very exciting. Now, what's the premise? Well, it's all about a group of retired pensioners who decide to go off to India and start themselves a brand new life. They're very excited. They're promised a luxury hotel, but it doesn't really turn out to be all it's cracked up to be. It's great that it's moving to the stage. I'm very excited to know who the cast is going to be, and that is going to be announced in the next few months. So stay posted and we will try and get you the news first here on Live in the Hive. So that's one for the diaries for next year. And also you might want to sashay along to the Opera House, because in October next year we have got RuPaul's Drag Race coming. Yes, it's series 3, and all 12 of the contestants from series 3 are going to be performing in this Christmas tour. Brilliant news, the tickets are already on sale. It's the 4th and 5th of October that it's at the Opera House. Now, if you've got tickets for Series 2, you are very, very lucky, because that is coming in February next year. But this is Series 3, guys. Oh, they are working it across the country. And that is your theatre news. But what, I hear you cry, is on at the theatre this week? Well, take a look at our What's On guide. Oh, some great productions across Greater Manchester at the moment. All very exciting and so much to choose from. Now, I said it's snowing outside here at the Hive, but is it snowing at the Palace Theatre? Well, they've got White Christmas on at the moment, and it is the most magical production I have seen in a long, long time. Of course, the music is from Irving Berlin, and we got to catch up with some of the stars from the show. Our team member, Francesca Eagleton, went to get the lowdown at Freight Island, where the cast were giving a fantastic performance and also telling us about what to expect. Take a look.
So I'm Dan Burton. I play the role of Phil Davis in White Christmas the musical, who is the lovable rogue that always leads this one astray, my partner in crime over here. I'm very sort of one of the romantic leads, and literally trying to swerve Bob Wallace, this guy here, into going along with all my plans. But hopefully you have to come and watch, but it all comes right in the end.
And my name's Matthew Jeans. I play Bob Wallace in the show. He, again, is the counterpart to Phil, and he's, I guess, the bit more reserved. I'm not going to say grumpy, I'm going to say reserved character out of the two, who, this guy tries to constantly set him up with people, and, who knows, maybe in the end it comes all right.
What's both of your favourite parts in the show?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I like doing, we have a good laugh doing Sisters in Act 2. That's always a fun moment, I think, goes down quite well as well.
Yeah.
But there's some really tender moments in the show for me, which I really love. One in Act 1, where I sing a song called Count Your Blessings, is a really beautiful scene, so I like that as well.
And I get to tap dance on a piano, a massive grand piano during Act 2. So that, as well as some other dance numbers. We did Let Yourself Go, which is a really big, high-energy dance number at the top of the show that we lead. And it's a full technical triple threat, sing, dance and act. And so to do that live on stage is really, really quite thrilling.
And how is it being back on stage doing what you love after being away for so long?
Oh, I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
A year and a half of industry, nearly 2 years, is decimated. And so to actually be back performing, glad that we still fit into the suits and can still get on stage and do it all, But it's so amazing to see the audience as well. When we sing White Christmas towards the end of the show, you look out and you can really see what Christmas means to each and every person that's been affected in some way by the virus and by everything that's happened. So it's really nice to be having a sort of heartfelt musical back on stage, so the audiences can come and escape and enjoy Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well. I think especially for our industry, we've had a lot of people had to find other means to earn and stuff like that. To actually feel very lucky to be back so soon and back able to perform again in such an amazing show. And I think it is a true amazing escapism for everyone involved, for us and for the audience actually. So.
And last question, why should people come and watch White Christmas this year?
It's a toe-tapping triple threat extravaganza for the Irving Berlin music down to the Stephen Mear choreography. It's a great story for Christmas.
Yeah, and I think it is a truly joyous show, and as I say, I don't think you'll find a more beautiful written score in the show and a real tender story. I think you come in, no matter what kind of a day you've had, you'll leave with a smile on your face and feeling energised and uplifted, and I'm ready for Christmas. I think sometimes it's quite hard to get in the Christmas mode, and especially at the moment. So I think it's a great way to kick that off.
Something for all the family.
Yeah.
Oh, it is such a brilliant show, White Christmas, and Francesca did a great job there of talking to Dan Burton and Matthew Jeans. And as I said, we have got the cast of White Christmas singing us out of the show. You don't want to miss it. It is going to make you feel festive and all warm and fuzzy inside. But now we're back to Nathaniel Hall, the second part of my interview with him early this week. We talked about World AIDS Day coming up. It's on the 1st of December, which is this Wednesday, and also the importance of It's a Sin hitting our screens. And of course, Nathaniel was lucky enough to be in that show. He was absolutely fantastic. And here's what he had to say about that.
Actually, on World AIDS Day, we are straight after the show. We'll have a little break, but we're going to show 3 short films called HIV and Me, which Dibby Theatre, the theatre company I run with Chris Hoyle and Ross Carey, we've made during lockdown when the show couldn't be on. We've worked with some incredible other people living with HIV from George House Trust to help them tell their stories creatively on film, and they're just, honestly, I know I'm biased, but they are just the most beautiful short films. And these are people who are not artists or writers or performers, and they've gone on this journey. They've written scripts, they've performed in front of camera. They're stunning, and we've worked with Boca Films who've helped us produce those. So we're going to show those afterwards because it's obviously a special performance, and then have a little chat about those and the show as well. On World AIDS Day as well, there is the vigil in Sackville Gardens, which starts at 6 p.m. You could probably squeeze both in if you've got a cab over to the theatre afterwards. But also within the show, we hold a vigil for those people who we've lost to HIV and AIDS as well. So that'll be a really special one, I think, on World AIDS Day.
Oh, absolutely. That does sound very special. And if they can't make seeing those films, can they see them anywhere else? Because they sound just wonderful.
Yes, they're currently being screened. I think we're almost in every borough across Greater Manchester. So if people go to Dibby's website, which is dibbytheatre.org, and then go to HIV and Me, there's a list there of venues that are screening them. Some are doing them digitally, some in their venues themselves. And then once that's over and we've gone past World AIDS Day, we'll be looking to screen them again in the new year. So yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunity for people to see those.
Oh, fabulous. Now, I know you yourself are an activist for HIV, and you do amazing things aside from, your one-man play and everything. And you go out and you work with projects, don't you? Is it in equal parts that you're doing some outreach with?
Yeah, so In Equal Parts is actually a project which is led by myself and Dibby Theatre. So when First Time couldn't be on tour, and we'd been to Edinburgh, we'd done a part of our national tour, and then coronavirus came and interrupted all our lives. We decided we wanted to try and continue the impact that the show was having. So we created In Equal Parts in partnership with George House Trust. And that's a whole range of different things, including the HIV and Me films that I've just mentioned, but working with other people with HIV through creative workshops to help them work through their own diagnoses. We've created a digital resource for schools, which can be accessed online for free. That's on my website at nathanielhall.co.uk. That's a 40-minute online lesson, really engaging lesson for schools and colleges to use. And we've done In Conversation with events with Russell T Davies, with other people with HIV online. So it's been a great way to keep the momentum going and widen the impact of the show First Time as well beyond the stage.
Absolutely. I mean, it is so great, some of the things that we could do in lockdown and the way that we used our creativity in some really positive ways. You mentioned Russell T Davies there. Obviously, do you know what? With you two coming together, it's almost like a bit of a powerhouse because of what you are doing. Russell T Davies did It's a Sin, and obviously, that was a smash hit. You were involved in it yourself. Did it feel great to be in it was like a dramatic movement, wasn't it? And telling of the time that really should not have happened in the 80s and 90s, and people should not have been treated that way when they had HIV. So for you working on that, was that incredibly special?
Absolutely. I can see you've got your La t-shirt on there, which is great. I mean, what an incredible thing, even that Russell says himself, that La was a thing that he did with his friends. It was this sort of silly little thing, and he sort of threw it into the script because he thought it was sort of funny and had no idea that, the whole nation would be doing it, and it's incredible what Philip Normal made the La t-shirt for Terence Higgins Trust. That's made 500,000 for charity. It's just incredible. But yeah, I mean, what an honour to be in It's a Sin. Russell, an adopted Mancunian. I know he's from Wales, but he spends half his time in Manchester. An amazing storyteller. He tells LGBTQ and particularly gay men's stories so well on screen. What a boon to land a part in that. Be with Red Productions, an amazing Manchester-based TV production company, and I was like a Kinder Candy shop, like all the 80s costumes, and
it was phenomenal. The music, everything. And
Yeah.
you played Donald, didn't you? Which was Richie's boyfriend. Was it his first boyfriend?
It was his first proper boyfriend. I think is the first one he's for. They've really fallen for each other, which makes obviously the outcome of the storyline even more tragic, I guess.
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with Russell then? You said that you had an in conversation with him.
Yeah, I do. In fact, I just texted him just before we came on this call. Yeah, Russell's a great friend now, and he's such a generous man with his time, and he makes everyone feel welcome when we're on set, and kind of guiding. I'm relatively new. I've done a little bit of TV acting, but I was relatively new in It's a Sin, so helping, guiding through that process and lots of support. A real wonderful man, and like I say, just an amazing spokesperson for our community, and he talks about how difficult it was to get It's a Sin commissioned. He was trying to get this story commissioned for a very long time, and that shows you some of the challenges faced in getting LGBTQ stories and the stories of HIV on screen on mainstream telly. So yeah, just a wonderful person to know all around, and yeah, what a great friend now.
Absolutely. Has your life changed since It's a Sin? Has like the offers come flooding in, or do people stop you in the street now?
I mean, when it came out, we were in lockdown, so we were all going out with masks, weren't we? So no one could recognize you. So I had an anonymity. I can never say that word. I was anonymous for a while. It's changed a little bit. People do recognize me. Mainly around gay areas. We go out on Canal Street and stuff, and that's really nice. And particularly when people do come up and have a chat and say that they love the show, or they've seen first time my show, and thank you for telling the story. And that's always really, really lovely. I've been so busy with my own show that any offer that has come in, my agent has had to turn down. So, but we'll see what happens. I'm like I say, I'm a theatre maker and a theatre actor, and that's where my passion really lies. But if the TV or film, casting directors come knocking on the door, I'm not going to say no. But if It's a Sin is the peak of my TV career, I'll definitely die happy, because what a show.
I don't think it is at all, Nathaniel. In fact, I think First Time needs to actually go on the TV itself. Now that could be good. And Russell Davies maybe could get involved in that. And as I say, it reaches wider audience, spreads more awareness, and is damn bloody good acting. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. You're at the Contact for 5 nights. If anybody can get themselves down there, they are in for an absolute treat. But do take the tissues, right?
Absolutely, take the tissues. But also on the 4th of December, on the last show, we're having an after party, which is an extra £5, and we've got 2 amazing DJs. We've got Mixed Dress and Super Nature Disco coming down, spinning the tunes afterwards, celebrating 36 years of HIV activism with George House Trust. Oh. So that's going to be a great opportunity to for me to let my hair down after a very long tour, but also for people to come along. Hopefully, now we can and have a little boogie and a celebrate.
Oh, that seems the right way to celebrate. So tissues and heels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What every good night needs. Absolutely. Maybe not in that order, but yeah.
Well, we'll see you there. Thanks so much, Nathaniel, and enjoy your run at Contact.
Thanks, Michelle.
Now, don't forget, First Time is on at the Contact Theatre from the 30th of November until the 4th of December. Try and check it out if you can. Honestly, you won't be disappointed. It will be fantastic. And as Nathaniel and me said, take the tissues. Christmas. Now, I hope you really enjoyed the show this evening. I know that I did, and I will be bringing you lots more next week. We've got a brilliant interview with Marlene Lewis from the Royal Exchange, and we've also got a little bit of a sneaky surprise. Well, keep your eyes peeled on social for that one. But for now, let me say goodbye and Merry Christmas, even though it's early, because we have got the privilege of the cast of White Christmas playing us out. Enjoy every minute of this one. Go and get your Christmas trees up, why don't you? See you next week.
Blue skies, smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. That's on sunny side, where things go so right, those sing days are in love, how they fly blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies, skies are gone. Such a